another episode of Brothas Podcast, episode 6. It's your host, Willie Black here. Joined again with my brothers. We got JC in the building. Got True Blood in the building.
Yes,
Big
sir.
Unc in the building. Spence up in the building. And James Flame on the boards. How everybody doing? How y'all doing?
Man.
Living. We're living.
Tired, man.
Yeah, man. It's draining
bunch
out
of
here.
work. Shit, work at the house, bro.
Work at the house.
Yeah.
That honey-do list, baby.
Man, ain't no
Honey-do
joke.
list.
No joke.
Yeah, I see True Blood getting them workouts in, man. Like you dying on the on the gram.
Man, I'm just trying to stay focused, man. Try to use that to distract myself from all of the other distractions.
Yeah,
Right.
Who you telling?
Yeah.
What you been up to, Spence?
Man, just holding it down, man. We just finished, of course, celebrating my son, getting him ready for college. That's going to be
Yes,
a
sir.
reoccurring theme all summer for me. But just trying to monitor my energy, man, as we go through this global, I guess, reemergence of energy that always reinvites itself because we haven't really solved this racism issue. So just kind of try not to become overstimulated with all this happening. So that, doing little things to keep myself busy, keep my mind progressing in the right way. So that's been me, brothers.
Yeah. What up, Big Unc, man? See you outside, got the tank top on.
Right.
It's 90-degree weather out there.
Oh yeah, it feels good, man.
Yeah,
I'm cool, man.
you flexing on this day outside, man.
Yeah, everything's been cool, man. My parents just came up here from Charlotte, and
Oh, that's what's up.
they stayed for about 4 or 5 days. My brother came down from New York, and I had a house full, man. So they just left this morning. They got back safely. Got a call. I mean, just that was like real good for me. So the 70th birthday, and
Wow.
it was on the same day that the situation happened with Brother Floyd. So we celebrated that while she was up here. Grilled out a lot, man, and so that was nice.
Sure.
So I've just been relaxing with the family.
Yeah, man.
Good, man. That's good.
It's good to see everybody's safe right now. Some other people out there not too safe these days, with all the protesting going on and everything. We just had a protest out here in my area yesterday. A lot of people was out at the mall and lakefront and stuff. As you see all over the world. It's not just in America now, it's all over the world, man. People just out here in the streets. So, y'all and y'all loved ones been out there?
No, not that I know of. I've been trying to keep up with everybody, especially like my younger siblings, just to kind of see what type of activity they've been doing. But for the most part, like they kind of been staying in, just trying to manage themselves. So I appreciate that.
Definitely, yeah. As far as for me, by having older children, they definitely know what's going on because we basically talk every night just to make sure that we're all on the same page. But no, they've basically been doing what they need to do. I got one, my oldest, he has to go in to work on a day-to-day basis. But my youngest son, he's able to work at home. So all in all, it's good. And I just found out this evening that my wife's cousin, who lives up in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, didn't really know what was going on. And I was like, She actually went out and about downtown. I don't know exactly where she was going, but she actually ran into police officers out there, apparently spraying, some type of gas or something. And, she got it all up in her eyes and, affected and, but yeah, it's, it's bad out here.
Is she Amish or something? She Amish or something? Like she don't got a TV or phone? How she?
Dude, listen.
I was about to say, how old is she?
Hey,
like, is she older?
Yeah.
Yes, she is kind of up there. Now that I think about it.
I'm about to say, like,
an older cousin, yeah, one of the older cousins, yeah.
That's
crazy, yeah. But it's just crazy that you even like mentioned that, you know, because we're talking about protesting and stuff. Like just the total, like complete differences of response, you know, from like police officers and now incorporating military involvement from like what, maybe 3 weeks ago when the individuals were going to the courthouse with
guns,
you know, with guns, right? Protesting, all irate, and like nobody got sprayed with mace or anything. Like it was just they
calm, to cover that can up, brother. We ain't doing no sponsors out here.
Right, because they probably one of them companies that was making that donation.
yeah.
But yes, I just think it's just so crazy. Like, not crazy. Let me retract that. It's not crazy. It's just like, I guess they don't expect. Man. Yeah, but it's almost like they don't expect anyone to see it, as if like we're all blind. Like 3 weeks ago, have a protest, people with weapons, and they're all calm, cool, collected, and then you know they see a different crowd with the focus on or emphasis on you know Black injustices, and now it's like, oh shoot, we gotta rile up the troops. I just think that is so sad. I ain't gonna say crazy. It's just sad.
I think I'm more surprised to see how global it's gotten. Like I thought it'd be something that kind of stay here at home, you know, and within the U.S. and certain communities. But you're looking at different countries, at people in the streets, and that's what's surprising to me. Yeah, so I don't know about y'all. Like I didn't expect that.
What are some of the other countries that Spence? You might, since you're getting ready to speak. What was it? Brazil? What's some of the other countries?
Yeah, Rio de Janeiro, Brazil.
Okay.
New Zealand, London, many African countries, and cities within Africa. China, of course, like we talked about last week, is in a state of protest, not only for themselves, but you're starting to see now some protests for, I guess, an allies of what we're doing over here. And so, but what I was about to say was that I think a lot of countries still experience levels of bigotry and racism. You know, especially over in the England area, London, parts of London, racism is really high and it's overt. Many places in New Zealand, Australia still experience heavy doses of racism, outright racism. And many places in Africa, we know, especially like South Africa, still dealing with it. So I think this Floyd situation and the protests we have here is just a representation that a lot of people are frustrated with a lot of things that's going on. And we throw around systemic racism. And I think that's what it means global now.
You've been hearing that word a lot too, systemic. You've been hearing that word thrown around a lot, systemic racism. It's something to see. But what I don't like is the looting, the rioting, stuff like that. And I definitely understand the potential with everybody's emotions that's are real high. But, and I'm not taking, I don't want to go off topic with the global issue, but I think what bothered me a lot, and I just take my hometown, Charlotte, where I saw the peaceful marching initially in the afternoon, but in the evening, this was earlier this week, but then when the evening came, they started tearing up like a historical, Black area. And I'm like, the thing about it, you don't tear up your own stuff, because I don't advocate, I don't condone any of it, but you're tearing up your own neighborhood, man. Mm-hmm. And, wow, that's what
was
that?
It?
What?
But was it? Oh, my bad. Go ahead.
No, what I was going to say was, are you sure the people that were out there looting were actually from Charlotte, North Carolina? I mean, because they could easily, because what I've been seeing a lot on social media and out here, on the television, is that a lot of people are, going from one town to another, one state to another. It's actually out there looting and trying to act as if they're from that particular area or that particular community. You got people out here who don't believe in Black Lives Matter or literally spray painting buildings, and it's, making it seem, and then of course the media is, pinpointing that, making it seem as if it's the actual blacks that are out there doing this. So, I mean, that's one thing, Tyler. You got to make sure that, they're actually from Charlotte.
And that the actual protesters, not police, because there's been a lot of undercover police been out there inciting stuff and breaking up stuff and then, trying to get people going. So, I mean, like I think I said a couple weeks, it's like it's part of the handbook, man. Officer kills a black person, people take to the streets, stuff breaks out. It's like in the handbook. So you got, like, a lot of times, like, they'll show like people burning up stuff, but 9 times 10 it's not even people in the neighborhood, like Chris said. It's just outsiders and people.
That's an awful lot of and I know what you all are saying, and that could be true. There have been a hell of a lot of perpetrators for what all they did, man. A hell of a lot of perpetrators that they put in the mix of that. I just think some of the ignorance of folk sees on opportunity to do something stupid.
Yeah.
I think there are some people that are perpetrators, like you said, out of town, and with a different cause, different agenda, and they blend in and do that.
But I think we got to, like, look at it from what was going on prior to as well. So, like, if there are people looting that are from the neighborhood, like, remember they was dealing with this pandemic. Like, some people not working, they not getting no checks. Some people still didn't get stimulus checks and stuff like that. So, like, it may be valid. Like, like I know people's like, no, but you supporting that, but, like, people trying to live, they're trying to survive too. So, like, that could be it. Now, again, I don't know. I haven't spoken to anybody, but, like, that's another element of it that could be, causing individuals, like, shoot, it's already been a scarcity of toilet paper. I need toilet paper, right? Because, like, I think we tend to forget about those people that are struggling, right? Like, they're struggling. And then I seen another video, like, when this lady was, like, kind of speaking and advocating for her community, because she's seen people coming in and just demolishing stuff. And she's like, no, like, it's homeless people that are relying on some of these spots, like, and now they messing it up. And it's like, now they don't have no place to kind of tuck away and keep warm and stuff like that. So, I mean, I'm sure there may be some looting that does not have, I don't know. No, I'm not even gonna say that, because I feel like people that are comfortable aren't looting. Like, the people that are really looting are in a tight situation. Like, I'm making an assumption.
It's an assumption. It's an assumption because
that's what I'm saying. I'm gonna make the assumption.
Because
the likelihood,
the white lady walking out with the 2 lamps.
You saw that?
Target, like,
I saw that.
Yo, see,
like, what you need with that, man?
Exactly.
She been looking at them lamps for months. Like,
I'm gonna put her in the group that with the antagonists, right, or the opportunists. So she's seen somebody messing something up, and you're right. She was like, shoot, man, I've been wanting them lamps for the longest. Let me go get those. Is she really a part of, like, the message for what individuals are out there protesting for? Like,
right, but she gets lumped into that message. That's
exactly.
And then, like, the people lying, like the clip you sent me the other day where the guy said, like, all these black dudes jumped on me, whooped on me.
Yeah.
And then
You saw that?
video,
You saw that? Yeah.
Was trying to shoot a bow and arrow into the crowd, and they whooped on him.
And they whooped him.
And then, like, the lady in the wheelchair. Like,
she was lunching.
Yo, like, she was in there stabbing people, and they whooped her ass, like, and rolled out in the middle of the street, like. But
right,
all you see is the white lady in the wheelchair saying, "He jumped on me. I was trying to stop people."
Right.
I mean, that's the one good thing you got about video. Like, there's video everywhere.
Everywhere. It is.
Can't get away with nothing.
Right.
No, they're getting away with it. It's just
But I mean, like, it helps explain the story a little bit more. Like, that's the one good thing about this era, man, is, like, you can't just have somebody write something down in a book and say, all right, this is what happened. Like there's video evidence out there. There's archives of stuff now. You can, if you really want to know, you can go back and find it.
Could you imagine if our ancestors had cell phones, bro?
Right.
Yo, like,
but they probably find a way to censor that too, though. Like,
right.
Of course, yeah.
But
you
I'm
know
saying,
that.
but like I think you kind of mentioned it, right? But it was like, say, Emmett Till had a cell phone, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Now, am I saying it was gonna change the result? No, but the message is gonna be different, right? Oh, that sounds like a house phone.
Yeah. Who's got one of them?
Somebody dating themselves.
Taking it back.
No, that's shit. We probably need to go back to that right now, right? Because they can shut down all these cell phone towers
in a heartbeat.
Well, it don't even matter. I remember when that earthquake hit a couple years ago, man. Nothing worked. Landlines,
even the landlines.
Yeah,
I ain't gonna lie, we had a landline then.
They shut everything
down.
I
get rid of that.
And in response to people tearing up their own cities, I'm reminded that like people deal with trauma in different ways, and everybody's not as tactful. Sometimes we see it in our profession that people don't know how to deal with built up tension, built up stress, built up pressures, but to tear stuff up. You know, we see it sometimes when kids punch holes in their own walls. You know what I'm saying? We'll go out and punch stuff or throw stuff down. And I think until we train our young people how to cope with stress and trauma, we're going to see that kind of flare up when they do have the opportunity and they know, hey, I might not be held accountable for it. And so that's one of the other things. And I don't think we've done a really good job of that as a generation, our generation and generation before us, to help curb that energy.
Right.
But we often give our opinion on what that is, though, man, you know. And so I'm definitely not for anybody tearing up their resources that they get. I'm right with you, brother Big Unc. I'm right there with you, man. But I also want to take the other side of it is that, you know, we have to train people how to use that energy and what happens when they get stressed and what happens when they build up and what happens when they see things they've seen a bunch of times, but sometimes it didn't make it on the news. You know, many of these kids might have seen that same situation happen 4 or 5 times this year, but it just happened to make the national news this time. And so then it becomes an anger of, let's tear this down. I don't own any of it anyway, you know. And
microaggressions.
These entities are foreign to me. Matter of fact, they want to take from me. They don't give to me. So I'm going to tear it down. And it's unfortunate. Because, it is unfortunate. Yeah, it's unfortunate because then you talk about resources. But then I'll go back and say the system does the same thing. They just do it on a different narrative. They go and tear down the communities also. But they do it with grants. They do it with bulldozers. They do it with subsidies, and it's a different narrative.
Buyouts.
But huh?
The buyouts.
Yeah,
buying people out of the community.
I mean, gentrification happened everywhere around the world. So,
yeah.
You know.
Yeah, and that's
I don't know, man. So I don't know, and that's one of the reasons why I didn't go down. I haven't gone down yet to participate physically, because I do believe people protest in many different ways. And you know, there's a lot of shaming out there of people for whatever reason. If you don't say nothing, you're wrong. If you do say something, you're doing too extra. If you go down, you're trying to be an opportunist. You don't go down. I just think people protest in their own different ways. And, you know, hopefully people are putting some sort of energy and emphasis into making a change. And so, so I don't know, man. It's crazy.
And people still have to be mindful, man. There is still currently a pandemic going on out there. So that is killing our folk at a rapid rate. So also you have to think about, you know, what's a good way to get these people out the house. You know, stir some stuff up. So, you know, also gotta be careful with that, man. Keep aware, because I'm seeing a lot of posts talking about, well, you haven't heard nothing about no pandemic. Like, I get what it coronavirus just disappeared, and I'm like, y'all forgot they say about 2 to 3 weeks before you even symptomatic. So people could just be out there spreading it now. I notice I'm seeing people out there without masks on,
Yeah,
in close vicinities, talking closely, probably spitting on each other. It's just crazy. So,
come on,
you know what I
man.
mean? If you go out there, yeah, you go out there, man, be careful, man. Keep in mind, and also keep in mind that, you know, it's overwhelmingly killing black folk at a high rate. So, you know, also keep that in mind. It's part of the plan as well. You know what I mean? So, you know,
Who's
you just
playing?
Inquiring minds want to know.
Hey, Tally, I'm switching it around on him, Tally.
I see.
Yeah. But hey, I want to go back to what Spence was saying about like you know, teaching the youth and stuff. Like, I think that's like a community component too, because like say some of these youth don't have like that structure like within their house, right? You know, part of the system, right? I seen a picture of like there's a girl holding up this sign saying that you're killing our fathers, and later on you're teasing us saying that we're growing up without our fathers. And I was like, dang, that's deep. But like, so like you gotta find a way to kind of manipulate your situation within the system, because, you know, imagine right, no free ads. I see that. But like, so like that's a whole nother level of it, right? Because now say you have individuals that are in the household, and you know their siblings are raising them, so they don't know like how to guide them, support them, because they're trying to figure it out too. Or, you know, the say is the single father or the single mother that got 2 or 3 kids and they stressed out. So like, you know, I think like we just gotta, I don't know, like create systems within our own communities that we'll be able to kind of support each other. Because I don't know if that is even like present, like even in like, you know, some of the affluent communities, right? Because not too many people are like even really have those relationships with their neighbors no more. It's neighbors, right? People live in neighborhoods, not communities. It's not almost. Right. So it's like, yeah, who's your neighbor? Oh, I don't know. Like, I just know they live there. They got that blue car. They come in around 6 o'clock, but like people ain't having those type of interactions, and they did like you dare not say something to somebody's child, because now they're taking it all personal. And it's like, no, I'm trying to help you out. Like you can see the little kid like spazzing out when they playing like in the community. You're like, yo, you know what? It's okay. Like if y'all lose, y'all talk about it, then you play again, right? But somebody, a parent, look at you like, what you telling my child for? No, and I'm like, yo, I'm trying to help. So yeah,
time to change.
That means the village is getting weak. The village, because I remember growing up, I could get, you know, and it's true. The teachers, the people at the church.
Why you put your wrist up like that, Spence?
My neighbors. I'm just saying.
I saw
it. No, just the whole village, man. Whatever, you know. I like Spence where he always used the stakeholders. The stakeholders are that strong anymore. Like you said, because people tend to stay out of business because of what you're talking about, nephew. You're saying people are taking it the wrong way when you're trying to discipline their child or teach them or show them the right way. Those choose to make that step, you know, they know they're at a risk, because they go home and tell their parent, but such and such said this to me, not knowing for being disrespectful, or it was an opportunity for a teaching moment. They just going to say something to my child. This ain't your damn child. You know?
Exactly. Parent is looking for an opportunity for a payday. Why? Don't touch my child.
Right.
I know I got spanked by people that in my family.
Child. What are you talking about? What? I remember one time I came home, and it was I came in the house, mom standing there at the door, and she looked at me and said, well, you know, I heard such and such and such happen, you know, outside, you know, down the corner. I'm sitting, I'm thinking, Mom, how in the world did you know that? Oh, because Mr. Johnson, you know, called me and told me that you were doing X, Y, Z, boom, 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 boom.
Right.
So, I mean, hey, you got it. You got it, you know, either way. So, you know, those days have changed. They're gone. I'm sorry. Like Tyler was saying, the village is extremely weak.
Weak as
let's say fractured. Let's say
fractured. Injured.
Yeah.
When you say injured,
it's injured. Yeah.
Slightly broken.
Right, because there's certain components of the body that's hurt, right? But there's other elements that still kind of functional.
Yeah, but to go back to your one point, True Blood, like I think we also got to deal with the mental health aspect of it. You know what I mean? Like our fathers and their fathers, they didn't really abide by that. Like, wasn't no mental health thing, no mental. It was a thing, but it wasn't like they didn't accept that. Nobody really believed in that. So I think we're starting to come into a generation where that's become more prevalent. But we still got our traumas that we ain't dealt with yet. Like, we got PTSD from whatever. So I know these youngins had PTSD from this stuff they see on a daily basis that's being fed to them through the news, through social media, through music, through whatever.
Yeah, they overstimulated, definitely.
Right. So it's like, how do you me as a 16, 17-year-old boy, how would I react in this day and age if a police rolled up on me? My first instinct, seeing everything, would be like, this ain't gonna be good. You know what I mean? Like, we think that now, but like even more so now because what you're seeing. So, and like I said, so like, yeah, we gotta teach them, but we gotta address our mental health. You know what I mean? Because we might not have stuff that we dealt with, and we don't know how to tell the youngest how to, how we should handle emotionally or whatever, because we haven't had those tools. Because like I said, it's just something that's starting to become a thing that people do. You know what I mean? Like therapy in the past was like a curse word in the house. Like, we talking about, we don't go no therapy. Ain't nothing wrong with you, boy. Go.
Kind of still like that, right?
Yeah, it's still kind of like that, but you're starting to see the shift in the community as far as that go. You know what I mean? So it's just like, it's a long process, man. It's a long process.
It starts with what we're doing right now, though. It starts with just having a conversation. And there's power in the conversation, brother. It leads to so many other things. And it doesn't have to be exact for every community. It doesn't have to be exact for every person. And so modeling that behavior is the first thing, because then people pick it up. We see True Blood out there getting ready for the Olympics. Everything we know. It's like, dang, I can't go to lots no more, so I'm gonna try to do a sit-up.
He working on getting them back. Look at him.
Yeah, man. Sure. This pandemic got me whooping, right?
And so that conversation helps you to start say, hey, I like that idea. It works for him. Let me try to let it work for me. And then when you have young people around, they do the same thing, man. They sit and watch you. And you don't think they are, but they watch you. Man. And they pick up stuff and they use it elsewhere. They're not going to tell you, hey, man, I saw what you did. You shook his hand. You looked him in the eye. I went and did that 2 times last week. They're not going to tell you that, but they're going to start replicating that. And our successes, I think, are greater than we want to mention. What we do is we build our assessment based upon media, and that's always going to be skewed. Because they have an agenda. And I mean the powers that be that make money and get resources off of the oppressed.
You knew that question was about to come, right?
and they could be many races or ethnic backgrounds. Primarily in this country, it has been the Caucasian male.
Respect. Yo, man. Go ahead,
nephew. Go ahead.
No, but even what Spence was just saying too, like just like hearing it out loud, thinking about it, like maybe counseling was different back then, right? Because like counseling was just going to talk to grandma, big mom, right? And he's like, Mom, grandma, like, what's going on? And then boom, they in your session, right? So that may be another reason why they look at it differently, because they had like their elders to kind of lean on, right? Because you hear about those folk tales and grandma say do this or this, that, and like that was their counseling. So that could have been, the approach. So now when they're hearing that you're inserting a third party, it's like, what you going to talk to them for? Like, you can come talk to your grandma because she done helped all us with this. But we look at it as like, no, grandma, she a little dated on some of her approaches, and it don't receive. It's not received as well as so. Like that could have been, that platform then, because like again, these individuals probably marginalized and didn't have the opportunity to go out to these third parties. So they had to go to the uncle and the aunt, and the cousin, the grandma,
the barbershop.
Yeah, the barbershop.
Yeah, the barbershop.
So,
Yeah.
Definitely
that
the
was
barbershop.
counseling. Yeah, but what you gonna say, Unc?
This was on the thing with pertaining with Spence was in reference to what Spence was talking about. Did you all see the little video that Charles Barkley had? It's called went to go talk to the leader of the alt-right group.
Nah.
I saw it.
The alt-right stands for alternative.
I saw that.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And it's heavily based on what Trump was running behind. They would put a lot of behind Trump. It's just basically the guy was saying that, he believes in diversity, but he just want everybody to have their own. He feel like blacks should have their own. White, because he said this is a white America. This is not, he was just going in, man, and he was strongly believing that. And he said, the Hispanics or the Spanish people, he wished they would go back to from and
California,
right. New Mexico, Texas,
Arizona.
Right.
And then Charles was like, well, how are you going to say that? And they come up here and work hard for less money and do all this stuff, and what used
doing the jobs nobody else wanted to
work
do.
for a white man that typically work for. He said, well, I'd rather just give them to the blacks, those jobs, give them to the blacks, and because you people need to have jobs too. Charles was like, and y'all know how Barkley is.
Right. Yeah, that's the big up, right?
Yeah, that's the big up. Charles Barkley, man, he was just saying, he was just so angry inside that people really think like that, man. And
yeah.
these are the people who Trump really is pushing him, and they was going. It's a community. It's a group that's just growing. I mean, I try to share it with you fellas so y'all can see the tidbit on it, but it was good.
Yeah, but you know what? That brings
it
up.
was basically enlightening. It was enlightening that we have a lot of people that still think this way.
There's a lot of black people though that still think that they should never desegregate it. You know what I mean? Like we were thriving better and even more just when we had our own communities and stuff. So I mean, that's just not. That's just not that part of the world. It's also there's a lot of black people that feel like we need to just go ahead and have our own community, have our own doctors, our own banks, all that other stuff. You know what I mean? So
we'll be a little late, but
no, we have to put that in there, bro. No, I'm not doing that. Stuff. I'm not owning that. I'm not owning that. That's a mindset,
bro.
That's a joke. I'm talking about for the viewers and the listeners. Yeah. Hey, but that's so funny that you say that because I every time I'm around elder individuals, I always inquire about that. Like, what is their take on desegregation? And a lot of them just say that I think they all had a great intent with it, but they didn't know how it was going to affect. Like, they didn't know what the aftermath was going to be, right? So,
hold on.
So when I raised
black folk or white folk, because I think white folk knew.
Folks.
Okay.
Yeah, black folks. Because I did that face because I'm making the assumption that majority black folks was, asking for desegregation.
Mm-hmm.
All right. But yeah, they were saying they wanted something, and then when it came out, it was that wasn't what they were asking for. They got a portion of what they were looking for, but they didn't get everything that they thought that they were going to be getting. So I look at it like that. It's yeah, man, we're talking about community, right? And the village. I think in that aspect, it hurt. And especially, right, Tally from Carolina, you look at the history of some of those very affluent towns and companies that existed there. And then once, desegregation happened, I know they had a major bus company in Carolina that used to service African Americans on the entire East Coast. And then, once individuals are able to, work with other bus companies, they just kind of got marginalized. So,
yeah, you're right.
Yeah, so that.
Was it Trailways? Trailways?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Trailways.
Yeah. And
I'm just saying, and I'm thinking about it now, if we can get equality across the board, think about how desegregation would look. How would that look for us, man?
Yeah.
What was your statement again?
If desegregation was like, if we could get the total equality, man, what would that look like for us, man?
Right. What would that look like?
We got to create our own currency, everything.
Yeah.
We got to create our entire system. Like, no, seriously, because if we, create our communities and it's still dependent on the pre-existing system, like they're still going to just manipulate it into their favor. So now,
that's why I said total equality. We support each other like we should. Just we were prospering. We got all these black inventors that done great things, great inventions. We got these intelligent lawyers. We got good doctors. I'm gonna tell you what'll be hurting though. Well, what wouldn't be hurting is our sports. That's another segment. That's another segment.
No, that's it. That's
going to the sports.
No, that's the Tom Herman. That's
right.
That's leading up to like the next thing we was gonna talk about, the Tom Herman. Right, everybody kind of hopefully had an opportunity to review the article, but yeah, pretty much he's the head coach at Texas, University of Texas, my bad, and he's spoke up and made some. He gave a response to a reporter saying that, it's sad how his student athletes are received one way when they're on the field, right? And the fans and spectators that are predominantly white individuals, and he didn't dismiss that they're black people in the stands too, but he said majority of the fans in the stands are white people. Like they love the student athletes, right? When they're on the field, they're scoring touchdowns and forcing turnovers and sack, they all like in love with them, right? They're very jubilant. But then, like as soon as they're off the field, right, they shift to being perceived as this threat. I know Black was talking about like the trauma. He mentioned that. He's like, yeah, when he gets stopped by an officer, right, like the only thing he's concerned with is like, how much is this ticket about to be? And he's like, he spoke to his student athletes and they're telling him like, that's like the last thing on their mind. And, just saying it sucks that they have to, endure that like on a regular basis. Like anytime they see, those blue and red lights behind them, like it's not, shoot, I'm about to get a ticket. It could be like, who's driving that car? And, like what are they thinking? So how can I make my 6'5", muscular physique seem so small that they don't feel threatened while I'm sitting in the car, right? Like it's.
Well, you can't. What was the kid? Was it Tamir Rice? Playing at the park. Little kid. They thought he was threatening. You know what I mean? So, but I mean, we always knew. Them type of white folks, they always love a dancing Negro, a singing Negro, a jumping Negro, a running fast Negro. Like, you know what I mean? Like they love all of that. So, you know what I mean? As long as you entertaining them, they don't care.
Yeah. So I'm looking to see like how many other Power 5 programs, and not just Power 5, but some of these premier programs, right? That's like constantly top 25 programs or coaches speak up. And then like, let's see how long this lasts. Like, is this like a soundbite, something that you got to say because you see everybody else doing it? Or like, are you going to stand true to it? Because like Tyler was saying, man, like, and I've been talking to my folks about this a long time. Like, could you imagine, right, if like 4 years, like African-American athletes, right, just decide like, you know what, we're going to go back, because I've been talking to my grandparents, and I remember when, FAMU or Morgan football programs was dominant, or Southern or Grambling, right? I don't want to go there and like rewrite history. Like, could you imagine that? And I was talking to my homeboys before, like it'd be so much faster if you did it with basketball. Mm-hmm. Like, think about that.
Totally dominate.
Yeah. Right.
Totally dominate.
And so you have the top athletes, right, that are Black, go to Black schools, right, HBCUs. and for viewers and listeners, historically black colleges and universities, right? So they go to these institutions, right? And then they make sure that their coaches already have them. There we go. I see you to Virginia State. My bad. I apologize. I did not know the history of the football and basketball program. So, but yes, that as well.
And it look like a brother. That look like a brother too, right? That ain't no USC trophy.
Right. You got a little fro sticking out on the side.
That brother got a wide nostril.
Looking like a sphinx.
That ain't no USC. That's Shaka Zulu, brother.
Right. But like, could y'all imagine that, man? And like, they already have like one of these Power 5 schools already on their schedule, because you know those schedules come out 5-6 years ahead. So like, you figure out which school. Y'all playing, like you said. Oh, y'all playing USC? Yeah. All right, we go there because I want to knock them across the head. And then you go to the dance, because now that's when you really get to show it. It ain't gonna be no Cinderella story then, because the whole narrative will change. Like, you got say you have 4 top 250 players on the team, right? Out of the top 250, you got 4 players.
What would attract these? I mean, and that's a great thought. What would attract these athletes, these top tier athletes, to go to the HBCUs and say, "Hey, we're not going to support these these PWIs,"
and or what is a sacrifice?
Yeah, what's the
add-on?
Right. Yeah.
Well, I think that the attraction tally would probably be if they knew
some of the ladies on the yard.
Not only that, of course. That's the sacrifice.
They got Chris out of New York, right?
Yeah. That's a sacrifice. That's a sacrifice. But no, I mean, but seriously though, I think the attraction basically would be going pro. I mean, let's just call it the way it is. I mean, that's the reason why these top, black athletes leave high school and they get recruited. They go into these top, big D1 schools, which are basically the white schools. It's because of the publicity and professionally, the big time college coaches that they see growing up on TV. They see them on television. That team is always playing on TV in the limelight. They come in their household and sit down and shake their hands, and say, hey, if you come to my school, I can almost guarantee that you're going to the pros. But on the flip side, that would be awesome. I mean, if the HBCU schools, could basically recruit those top black athletes on the basketball level, football level,
get them some TV
and baseball
time.
level, and some TV time, exactly.
TV time.
Yeah.
It only takes one, though.
That's all.
Who would be willing to step up?
Imagine if Carmelo went to Morgan State or Durant went to Howard.
How about Zion?
If Zion went to South Carolina State, stayed South Carolina State, and was a Bulldog.
Right. So it really just takes one player to do it and make.
I take that. I think it takes more than one. I think it takes more than one.
Yeah, it does.
If it's only one, right, they're gonna shift the narrative and say, "Oh, he couldn't get in, or he must didn't do well on SAT, ACT." And
Zion needed accommodation.
You know what I'm saying?
Zion's getting ready to go.
Right. So
Coach K said, "Look, bro, this dude, he's 6 months, man. That's all you got to do. 6 months. Get it.
So it's got to be like a cluster, right? It's got to be like a cohort of individuals, right?
Oh yeah.
So you got a few guys like say, all right, and just like how when they're recruiting each other. So like similar to like when they got all of those guys there, right? So like Zion, Trey Jones got him in. Trey Jones recruited him. But it's got to be a group of guys like that, right? Because then the narrative's gonna be like, whoa. So y'all said not Duke, and y'all wanted to go to, let's say because they was in Carolina, so they went to
South Carolina State.
A&T. Well, I just said
A&T, man. They went to Wisconsin State. They went to Wisconsin State.
Because they was in North Carolina, man.
I mean, exactly, North Carolina. Why you say A&T? Why it's got to be A&T?
My man, Winston-Salem. You're right.
Thank you.
My bad.
You get some problem. I mean, come on, baby.
I'm MEAC, man. Like I'm biased with the MEAC, but there we go. So they go to Winston-Salem because now they're gonna have to really be like, yo, what in the world is going on? Like all these guys elected to go to this one school. Now it's gonna be tough because now the school's gonna come under a lot of scrutiny, but like that's gotta be like it's gotta be going throughout the entire recruiting process. So when they started recruiting these guys at the 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th grade, right? I'm assuming they played varsity in 9th grade, so that's why I know those rules. So whenever they started playing varsity, right, they was already making sure that all of their other history was clean because like they gotta be prepared for like that scrutiny. But if that wave of kids went there, like that would have been.
So I think it's a little bit bigger than the pros too, though. I think some of those top 5 universities now have a legacy of support and endowment that comes from corporations that may not want to get in bed with Black colleges for whatever reason. Maybe there's no relativity, and so there's a difference from going to FAM or Winston-Salem State University, and you got maybe 2 dining halls. But you go to, Duke or UNC, and you got your choice of dining halls that look like a golf course restaurant, or, you can just you have a tutor to sign up for your classes for you because they have the resources, and instead of you standing in a line to get a card punched. So there's a whole lot of things that happen in between, I think, that has somebody saying, do I want to go here or do I want to go there? And what is a sacrifice, in the resources that I'm going to get and the resources I'm not going to get. And like the young brother said from Star Wars, I may not make it to the pros, so I'm doing this for a bigger mission. The young brother from Star Wars said, I might not have a career after this, but F this.
Right.
He out there protesting. He's like, he don't care.
He's going hard too, though.
So that's part of the sacrifice that we talked about last week, was that how far are you willing to go and for whom? And then when you don't get it to where you should have been, is your village strong enough that we just talked about to support and prop you back up to where you should have been? You understand what I'm saying?
Woo! I hear you. And so, Spence, that's deep. But can we draw this in since Spence said that? I mean, why can't we talk about your boy Colin, baby, in the NFL?
Who?
Right. Colin.
Well,
Kaepernick. Cap.
Oh, we can.
Well, I mean, just piggybacking off of what you said, Spence.
Yeah, that's a good lead-in, dog.
That's a very good lead-in.
Yeah.
As far as how this brother, how he did, 4 years ago, how he took that knee,
right?
And he sacrificed himself, his career. I mean, everything about him. But where was his backup? Where was that village? I mean, now you look at the NFL, you look at this particular executive guy. I think his name is Joe Lockhart. He's a former NFL executive, VP. He came out and he said that, we made a mistake. We were wrong. We should have backed Colin up back in 2016. I mean, it's easy to say that now that you're a former executive.
Yeah.
I mean, come on. But I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, I cut you off. You were making a point. I apologize.
No, go ahead.
So, I think Colin Kaepernick is a success. I don't think he has been sacrificial in any way. I think the energy of the universe had him in a position, and the NFL was just a small part of his total greatness. So I don't measure him from an NFL perspective. I measure him from a humanities perspective. Okay. So to me, he has done it, and he's continuing to do it. See, we got to take the narrative of media saying that because he didn't go to finish in the NFL, that he is less than, and that's totally opposite to me. The NFL was a pathway for greatness and greater things, and he done set up for the next couple persons. So he don't have to take it, and he don't have to be the martyr for us. No, now he's an example for James Spence. My whole name out there.
Got caught up.
Yeah, he got inspired.
We can edit it. It's all good.
After this, but no, he's an example for everybody. And so now we pick up the pieces and we go in our several communities and we make a bit of a sacrifice for our community, and that can be many different things.
Right. So y'all saying he did sacrifice though? That's what you're saying, right?
Go ahead.
He sacrificed because he the game was taking what he loved. That was a sacrifice. He sacrificed.
Yeah.
But that wasn't his bigger focus.
Exactly.
He didn't realize it in the beginning.
No, he didn't. He didn't.
He didn't go into it like that.
He didn't anticipate the results. He didn't anticipate
it. But now he's like, okay, then come. No,
you don't know.
None of us know. None of us know. And y'all know. So how you gonna dismiss me automatically and then try to validate y'all opinion, right?
No,
as soon as I was about to say something, you don't know.
Okay, maybe he did. Maybe he didn't know that he wasn't.
No, what I was gonna say is like I'm not gonna say that he didn't know, right? Because like all of his moves since then still seem so calculated. So I'm not gonna like dismiss his intellect and his strategic approach of like, you know what, I'm gonna do this, because it's not like a year later it's like, oh shoot, he's hurting. Like I feel like he had already orchestrated his team. He's like, yo, and even us, right? Like when we make decisions, especially like when it's gonna affect our family, and when I speak for myself, I think about best case scenario and worst case scenario. So like I'm just thinking like, I don't think he was that naive to be like, yo, if I do this, like I might not get a job. Like I feel like he thought about it. Like, did he expect it to go exactly like this? Probably not. But I feel like he was prepared for it. He was like, yo, like if this don't work, man, you know, like that's cool. Like we're gonna keep moving in this manner because we already got a few people that's backing us, and you know, like we just gonna remain this course. So like I feel like no, like I think that was definitely on the board when it was reviewing and say, all right, this is how we're gonna implement this. We're gonna throw this out there like this, and then you know if it don't.
Well, I will respectfully agree to disagree with you. I think once things got rolling and things happened to him, all the other stuff came to pass. You know, and he probably looked at it into open-mindedly, like, well, hey, maybe I will get put off the team if I do this, but I'm gonna do it anyway. I just don't think he's got more support, and now his view or his value is at a greater impact. It's impactful now as the years go on. As you can see now with this situation occurring, it's like, wow. Now you go back. This is why Cap was kneeling. Right. I think initially he thought it out, nephew, but like I said, I respectfully disagree. He could have sat there and thought about it, but do you? I'm gonna say he did. Do you really respectfully say he did?
No. I respect it.
Even he stated it was just something he did. Like he just did it. He wasn't thinking nothing about it, and it was kind of just a quiet thing he did to himself. And somebody pointed it out and then asked him a question. And he just told him like, "This is what it is." Like it wasn't a big thing. Like he was trying to draw attention to it at first.
Right.
Like,
he wasn't trying to draw attention, but he knew what he was doing.
I mean.
Right, like that's like so.
Because Marshawn Lynch
I'm
used to do it all the
I'm
time
gonna use
too,
me,
and
right?
nobody. Marshawn Lynch used to do it all the time too, and nobody would say anything about it. You know what I mean? So it's just kind of like a thing. Like this is what he did, and then somebody brought attention to it. He explained what was going on, and it just blew up into this whole thing because they were like, you know, folk had to turn into something else, and then your boy Trump get on board with it. And you know, he get on board with it.
Right.
Take it to a whole different level. You know what I mean? But now you seeing them taking knees and everything now, the police taking knees with the people and all that other stuff. So
but see, that's what I was gonna ask Tally. Like, does he really have support or is it convenient? Right?
It's convenient.
Because
it's convenient.
And I'm saying that because I'm trying to challenge y'all a little bit.
Well, hold on before this ties into when you said about you wanted to see what other teams make statements and all that stuff. You gotta be careful who making genuine statements or not, because like the NFL came out with a statement saying, you know, we support and all that stuff, but you had the whole Cap thing going. You had WWE come out and say, yeah, we support and all this stuff, but they support Trump openly. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. You just got all these people who are saying things like even I was talking about Cuomo. He did a whole press conference. He was naming all the names and stuff and said, I'm with the protest. But, bro, Eric Gardner happened on your watch in your state. And you can push for these officers for that officer to have consequences immediately. Like, you set back and so
that's right.
Really
that's right.
So people forget these
opportunists
things real quick. Yeah. So a lot of people are jumping on that wave right now. Like, well, we got to say something. If we don't say something, we're going to lose our base. So.
Yeah, and Cap already kind of gave him a platform. So now it's like, oh, yeah, let's use this now. all right, because this happening and people upset, so we're gonna kneel and say we kneeling with Cap. And it's like, yo, but like where you was at like last year, 2 years
4 years ago. 4 years ago. How about 4 years ago? Yeah.
So like,
let's go. So keep in mind, we're in an era of influencers and everybody wanting to be a part of what the trend. Like we literally on Twitter and Instagram, you got a trending column. We can look and see what everybody's talking about. You know what I mean? So that's just yesterday with the blackout thing.
The black boy, you already said, right? Black. You already said.
I said, y'all gonna come back and kneel with me now? It's convenient now.
So basically, what he's saying is, we all need to now. Okay.
But you still watch college football, man.
No, he's saying the NFL though. He's talking about the NFL.
It don't matter. It's all the same system. It's all in the same system.
Yo, but I already told y'all about that. Like I'm game with cutting off all football.
All football.
Oh, okay.
I like sport. I like sports too much, man.
I do. I do too. I'm sorry.
I'm just reading. They taking the vote tomorrow for the NBA to return at the end of the month.
No. It's already been approved. I thought it's the 31st. It comes back July 31st through October the 12th.
October.
And they're gonna have 22 teams.
Nah, they're gonna vote on.
And the Washington Wizards are one of the teams that they voted in, as a player.
Spence, you hear him, right? We getting in there.
Rest in peace, Wes Unfield.
Rest in peace, Wes.
Rest in peace. Rest in peace.
Rest in peace, Wes.
Yeah, he's to date my aunt too. That's a random fact.
I don't know. What?
Wait a minute. What?
Why is that even relevant to share?
I'm just saying. Rest in peace. You know what I'm saying?
What thing is this?
They didn't get married, so like that narrative could get spent, man.
Exactly.
Date my aunt.
But see, what I'm thinking about is Black. Where the tickets at?
That was a while back, bro.
My pops used to tell me that. My pops told me that. He's like, yeah, your aunt used to date him. I'm like, oh, for real? That's what's up.
Wow.
Now, what's the story that he used to say? Or what he would have said? We all dated a few of them, right? He married him, though.
Wow.
My bad. I respect your aunt, man.
But yeah, I don't know what we talking about.
No, y'all had pivoted to the NBA. You were saying that there's
I was just saying, NBA probably coming back in a month, so that's some sports coming back.
Yo.
I was basically saying when nephew was talking about kneeling, I was like, I like sports too much, man. I mean, it's part of my entertainment. I like the entertainment.
Right, I still love y'all. Like, I appreciate y'all accepting me. Right,
I appreciate you.
Blackwell was giving me hell the first 2 years. Then he was like, "Oh, so you still not gonna watch? Or you still? Come on, I know you watching." And then when the court settlement thing came up, so now if he takes some money, you gonna watch now? I was like, "No, man." He's like, "Why not?" And then when he did the tryouts, if he get on a team, you gonna watch? No. What? If he get on a team,
that's why I salute you, man. You just stuck to your guns, man. Yeah. But a lot of people were fake protesting, like, nah, we ain't watching, but they watching. And then as soon as he got that settlement, they were back on it. You know what I mean? So I'm not even gonna fake the funk. I watch football every Sunday. Ride or die with the Giants. I watch all their losses, crying and yelling at the TV every Sunday, but I watch it.
I'm looking at it. It's bringing you so much trauma.
There's still black players playing in the league. There's still black players playing in the league today. You know what I mean?
My team got a racist name, and I got a racist name. I got all type of contradictions in my ideology.
So do you guys think there's racism in the NFL? I'm asking. I mean, it's just a question.
Jay-Z's involved now. It's all
they got Jay-Z now, right?
Ho taking care of all.
Of course not.
Oh God. Hey, look, Spence, don't give him that soundbite. 45. Somebody may tell him like, look, the brothers they just said it is. It's a bunch of black men. They just said it.
The brothers said,
like the brothers said.
Hey,
that might be good advertisement.
Make sure we gotta edit that. Gotta edit
that. Are we gonna speak on this fool though? 45.
Who?
Yo, they shooting. They loot when they shooting.
Y'all see my man out there.
Yeah.
Wildin', bro. Wildin'. Yo, like this is like straight out of a comic book, man. Like you couldn't make this up at all.
But did y'all vote? Before we get into it, did y'all vote?
Yeah, I went yesterday. I actually went out.
Hey, Tally, like.
No, I'm saying
you missed
absentee ballot.
Absentee ballot. Me too.
Tally sat back like, man, ain't nobody doing that.
I didn't sit back on. I
need to get out the house, man.
I didn't vote.
On Trump's actions, man.
Unless you want this joke in there for another 4,
but this is just the prime. Like this more
so. I know.
Yeah, for local stuff. I just need to get out the house yesterday, so I would say might as well stay in line and vote somewhere.
So you just dropped off a blank envelope. You just went up.
Actually,
they were like, sir, that's like a regular envelope. Don't worry about it.
That'll be all right. So yeah, but I forgot
yeah, we can't waste energy on 45, man.
No, man.
My man turned the lights off at the White House, man. He turned the lights out. Like he did.
He went down in the bunker, man.
He did like when Jehovah's Witness knock at your door, man. Y'all turn off the lights, everybody get quiet. Don't nobody say nothing. Like, yo, they was about to run up in there and whoop his ass, right?
This guy, man. It's just a level of ignorance. It's just a level of I think about somebody used to say you can't expect sanity out of an insane situation. Mm-hmm. So don't try to wrap your head around it. So I try not to think about what he should do when I understand that a few years ago he was a TV personality. A few years ago he was a person that was trying to keep a couple businesses afloat. So the presidential piece to me is just an anomaly, and it speaks volumes, not really about him, but it speaks volumes about an entire population of people that said, yes, he's the guy. And what did they see in him to say he's the guy? And then I start questioning judgment of those people. Because if you're able to make that decision and be confident in that decision with all the evidence, then I'm really concerned about what other judgments you're making in anything in life, your profession, your family, yourself. And that lends to, some of the people that I know are my friends and I know they would do things for me, but I'm saying, you're backing this guy? You understand what I'm saying? You say I'm cool, you give me kudos, but you're backing a person that would do the total opposite of what I would do. I'm like, tell me where that's coming from, but we know that I know where I believe it's coming from, and I'm gonna just put it at that.
You think he's lost some supporters though, with all this?
Yes, of course. I think yes.
Yeah, because I probably say like 2 or 3 months ago, I just knew he had another term wrapped up, but now I don't know.
But I think what's gonna happen is watch what August does, right? And stuff gonna start opening up because like the narrative's gonna change about this COVID-19, and I think that is gonna be kind of slanted to kind of build up that momentum going into November. So, I mean, I don't know, and I know we already kind of talked about like how media is able to kind of shift the narrative. So I don't doubt it. If he still got a chance, because like those people can hate him today, right? Because think about like leading up to it. I think it was maybe 2 weeks prior to the actual election. There's people saying, no, I'm not going to do this. I'm not going to vote for him. Or there's people that the Republican Party saying, well, I'm still not sure who I'm going to vote for. And then come the day of, right? All of a sudden they had to change their mind. Like they seen all the other things and they was like, I can't believe he does this and he's going to represent our party and this, that, and the third. And then when they went in there and dropped that ballot, they was like, screw this.
But I mean, he did lose the popular vote though. Like the Electoral College elected him president.
Yeah, but they don't. So, but we all know, like that's almost like saying, like, if the ref didn't call that foul, I would have beat you. Like,
but I mean, it's only happened 2 times in history. when Bush got in and when he got in, and we seen under both instances what happened when both of them were in office. So I mean, somebody wanted him in office. It wasn't the people. So that's what people out there keep remembering. Like people, oh, you need to go out and vote. Make sure you go out and vote because last time, like the people went out and voted and they voted for somebody else. A system said no. He the man.
I have a question. How bad do you all think they wanted him in there, or they didn't want her in there? A female.
I mean, it could have been a combination of both.
Female president.
It could have been a combination of both.
That's a good question.
You know what I mean? Could have been a combination of both to me. Like
it'd have been real interesting.
Too much.
Yeah, I feel like it'd been real interested in those White Houses, right?
But
like now, their white wives. Now it's like we got a president. Like,
but I mean,
I'm making an assumption, but that would have been. Yeah, go ahead.
I mean, truthfully, and this is my conspiracy theory, man. Like, I thought Trump was always a plant in there to make sure that she won. But once he got going, they saw the steam he was picking up and was like, we might have something else here. So let's shift the focus. Because, I mean, there's some of the stuff he was doing throughout his campaign was like craziness to me. Like, even the worst person would be on their best behavior to be like, I got to put on a good face. But some of the stuff he was doing and saying was just like, yo, this dude's trying to lose the election. I thought he was a plant to put in to make sure that she won because 4 years prior she had tried to get the vote against Obama and couldn't make it. You know what I mean? And she wasn't that likable of a candidate anyway. Just in my conspiracy theory, man. But then as they got going, they started seeing like we might have something here. So let's push for this dude. To get in there.
Yeah, I definitely feel like it's like the Wiz, man, like the puppet master, like because Pence has all this background and experience, right? And he was like, shoot, if we put him up there and he do all this rhetoric, like, because I really feel like I think that Pence was thinking that he was going to get impeached sooner or later. And Pence would be in there. And think about like when they were talking about that impeachment, like so many people was like, yeah, he needs to be impeached. And not even, doing any research of like who Pence is. And and I feel like we're like in a trauma state right now. Like, so like, I feel like people are like, anything is better than Trump. So like if Pence took over, they'd be like, yes, Trump is out. It's like, wait a minute. Like, do you know what you signed up for though? So I don't know. I mean, I think all of it was very interesting and surprising. So, oh shit! I already know who that is. Then go ahead. Somebody else take the
mic. That's your new nickname, the sniper. You just come
right. Exactly.
But what you can do is you can't say that if you start looting, we're gonna start shooting. Like,
why not? No.
He can say it.
He can. That's what I'm saying. He's done everything else.
That's his dog whistle right there.
Exactly. I mean, we should always expect the unexpected when it comes to this guy.
Right.
I mean,
so it's not. So what you're all saying is not surprising. What you're saying, correct?
Right. Nothing surprising.
Exactly. Nothing surprised me out of this guy.
Yeah.
So what I'm saying is that is not the example of how you are inclusive. That an example of how you're trying to be divisive. And when you're being divisive, that energy, it comes back around. You understand what I'm saying? And so you put that element of energy in it. So now you're pitting cops who are fathers against their sons who may be in the streets also. You're pitting law enforcement officers and agents and people who may be doing their job to the best ability now against people who they live right beside. And without it, you're reckless in that conversation. And when you're reckless, that means other people have to suffer. And I just don't know how you can support that. And I don't know how you can clear out Lafayette Square with brute force or force from peaceful protesters so you can walk to say, yeah, I was able to walk. And then I don't see how you can take the Bible, which means a lot to so many people, and use it in a manner to just get a popularity vote or have a photo opportunity. So all these things are lacking in taste, and they're divisive, they're harmful, they're hurtful, and it's just, I don't know who can justify that type of behavior.
Racist.
And I don't want to hear about, well, what about Obama? That's not the conversation we're having at this point. We're having a conversation about President Trump.
He did make another speech this afternoon, though, Spence.
What did he say? Because I won't listen.
We talk about, he spoke about injustice, man, currently, man. I'll send it to you.
Well, he 4 years late for that.
I see that sucker on the street. I see that jive turkey on the street.
I respect the office of the President of the United States. As a veteran,
I was gonna say, you're gonna get your flag.
To uphold that hierarchy. I'll leave it at that.
Noted.
Okay. Good speech.
Y'all get my text?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Once I saw everybody just started laughing, I'm like, I know I ain't say no joke. Like,
oh my goodness.
At it again. The dang go sniper.
Yeah, I say the damn sniper right there.
Yeah, that needs to be your new name. Your tag name, man. The sniper experience.
with a straight face.
Oh,
I know,
gosh.
right? Yeah, man. But it's just getting comical out here, man. I mean, not that it's funny, but sometimes you just gotta laugh at some of this stuff, man. Like,
he's a joke, man.
Yeah. That's all it is. That's all it is.
But do we have a plan? So you're allowed to be a joke if you don't have a plan. So I tell a lot of people that's protesting, because we talked about the trendiness now on social media and the trendiness of protesting. I don't know if a lot of people really understand why they're out there, but it's just cool to be out there and post it on Instagram that you are out there, that you're protesting. But if you had that opportunity to discuss with your president of these United States, what would be your 3-point plan? What would be your 5-point plan for your community? Could you communicate that? And if not, I'm tired of people saying you just need to go vote, but you don't have any type of substance and plan behind that vote. I don't know if our president will call these people to the carpet, these people that are criticizing him. Could they communicate what it is that they desire and they need, or their frustrations that hasn't already been communicated by the media?
Mm-hmm. All right, killer Spence.
Right, and you're right on that, because you talk about the vote, like, and people talking about it, I'm like, how many? It's always multiple people on the ballot, and like, I wonder, like, how many people are actually studying, like, and doing the research to figure out who these people are? Or are they voting based off of how many yard signs they see of that person? They like, oh man, yeah. All right, so I see True Blood. Oh, which party is he? All right, I'm gonna vote for him. Because
I'm just voting all Democrat. That's it.
Yeah, because I ask people that, but I'm saying, like, when you're doing it now, right? Like, who are they voting for? Because you're voting for, like, local positions, right? So you vote for judges, right? And if you ain't doing the research, like, so you gonna just vote, right? You got to do the homework, because you just vote somebody in, and then, like, you come to find out, it's like, oh shoot, like, this the person that, like, did my uncle, my cousin, my aunt wrong, gave him an unfair judgment, and now you putting them in, or my bad, or they didn't offend him, right? And now you're putting them in as a judge. Like, it's almost like, and I don't know the lady background. I just know her from one particular story, for like the judge in PA that was on Meek Mill's case. And I'm like, wow. Like, wonder if anybody, like, well, clearly, I guess most of the people didn't do the research on it, because, like, the way that she was just deliberately going after this guy,
right?
Like, to be on probation for that long.
And just imagine, she was a black lady, so how many people just voted for her because she was a black lady? It's like, oh, she gonna understand.
Yep.
That's their research. That's their research.
And I'm not. I was guilty of that yesterday. Like, I didn't know who any of these people was on the ballot, but I was like, I didn't plan on going to vote yesterday. But I said I just need to get out of the house. I went on and said, might as well go. I'm out the house. Might as well go vote. but I didn't know who half these people were. And like the county I live in, like they wanted to vote on the Board of Education county. Like I don't have any kids, so none of my kids go to this county, the school in my county. I work in a different county, so I have more stake in what happening over there than I do what's happening in the county I live in, because I work in there and that's what I want to see. So like I didn't know anything. And
but
then
what if they end up raising your taxes on some like crazy
well, yeah, that's
stuff?
true
like
too.
you
But
end
I mean,
up voting in people in there,
bruh,
and they're like, you know what, because your county already got a special tax.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying.
I'm not gonna talk about.
But you know what? That's a tax I'll gladly pay, man, because I see what it goes to, and what it but like it's a good thing. Like when we see what it go to. Who the?
It's the sniper. The sniper.
That was a warning. Letting you know.
That means it's time to pray.
But yeah, I mean, it's certain taxes I gladly pay because I see where it goes to. You know what I mean? And I'm a product of that, so. You know what I mean? Like I know it goes to good use. You know what I mean? So whatever. You raise taxes, like those are things you should pay taxes on. Those are things that in the future. Like I would gladly pay that tax than pay for my kid to go to a private school. Like to me, it balances out really nicely. Because private school is no joke.
The cost.
The cost. Yeah, so I'd rather pay that tax than send them pay all this money for them to go to private school. You can go to a public school out here and get just as good, if not better, education.
What if it is an African-centered private school that follows your culture and values? Would you put a price tag on that?
You wouldn't let them come to my son's school?
Huh? Say what?
Yeah, that's what I was about to say. Like,
you heard what?
That's why I like. That's why. Right, and that's why I bit my lip, right? And I didn't want to insert too much of myself, right? But I said that's why I bit my lip. I don't want to insert too much of myself.
From my experience,
but I'm saying like when I think when people say private school, like they have one idea of what private school looks like, right? But you get to dictate which private school that you want to be a part of, right? Mm-hmm. So then, like you look for, schools that are presenting things that are in line. Well, what we did was in line with our culture and our philosophy and our theory, etc. So, I mean, that's why I was like, I don't know, I guess.
But my thinking in that also goes to like, yeah, it's great to know your culture, but that's where you come home to. You know what I mean? I can teach you that. Out there, you just don't deal with this your culture. You got to learn how to deal with everybody. You know what I mean? So in this particular county that we're in, it's inclusive of everybody as best as they can. So, I mean, end of the day, you coming home, you get an education. So from me on the culture, you know what I mean? How I'm gonna raise you and such. So, like I said, we just not deal like we're not living in a world where we just live.
Why you swelling up? Why you swelling up like that, nephew? We got something to say.
I'm trying to like.
Some on his chest. I want to go. Like he got some on his chest, man. He got some on his chest.
Like his little dashiki shirt done got tight and shit, man.
No, I'm just saying though, like, because there's other components of that culture, right, that you can't control, right? Like, so say, like, you send your child to that school and they're in the classroom with a teacher that's not in line with supporting your child just because they look like us, right? Like, that's another element of the culture that, like, you can't control that.
All right, but like, I'm also speaking from experience. Like, I'm a product of that school system. So
yeah, but are those same teachers
there was many teachers. So I seen a thing on Facebook where people saying, "Can you name me when you first had your first black teacher?"
You know what my son gonna say?
Huh?
You know what my son gonna say?
What?
Yes.
You know what I'm gonna say? First grade.
Well, but how old were you?
Shouldn't it be a good and progressive black teacher, not just a black teacher?
No, but what I'm saying, if Flame want to join in on this right quick.
No, we got you. We don't need no cosign. Ain't nobody else got cosign. No, stand on yours.
I remember Miss Carey.
I know y'all like wrestling, but ain't no tag team.
I remember Miss Carey. I remember Mr. McCoy and all of them. You know what I mean? Mr. Jefferson and all of them. You know what I mean? Like these were coming up throughout the years. So I mean, like we just I don't know, man. It's just different. It's just a little different over here.
Well, also
Well,
too,
I get you.
out in this community,
Black.
the BSAP was a big thing in every high school in this community that we were in. So they always had some type of black oriented group that would like make sure they kept an eye on the kids, make sure we was doing the right things, those type of things. So
I don't know if you want to say it like that. They had to keep an eye on the kids.
Well, where we was, they was.
I mean, like let's not front like we all were part of programs that kept an eye on kids. You know what I mean? Like, come on.
You speaking to my you helping out my approach, my theory. But I mean, I hear what you're saying, man. Like,
but hold on, let's be for real. Let's be for real though,
decision.
and we might have to edit out some of this part. But I mean, let's be for real though. We work in a county that sometimes don't have.
We
the
need to edit out what
of,
Spencer's doing with his face right now.
Yeah, I don't know what's happening.
He said he's trying to get that beard right, y'all. That's that new beard comb. I ain't seen that one before.
I got some oils for that, brother. Help you grow that out right there.
I got the oils for it too.
But we work in a place. Well, some of us work in a place, you know, in a county that, you know, has majority of us in there, but sometimes the schools don't have majority of us in their best interest. You know
I think that's what Spence was hitting at. I think that's why he was inquiring about that, right? Like, just because you're in front of a black teacher doesn't mean that they are in line with your morals, right?
That's right. And just because you're in front of a white teacher doesn't mean that they're not in line and they're not an ally and they're not progressing for you. And so I like the diversity comment you made, Black, because diversity definitely expands experiences and that expands knowledge and that cuts down on ignorance. But I'm also a proponent of relativity and relationships. And so as much as I can have relativity in those educators and students, I think there would be a greater chance that the education would be a little bit more impactful. Mm-hmm. And so I think we don't see opportunities a lot of times, and we get on this whole notion of we have to support public, and to the detriment of private. But what we don't understand is when they open up opportunities for private, they open up opportunities for us to create relativity in education. And so instead of saying, well, public is the positive and private is the enemy, we need to start saying, what would we like to see in education for our students? And can we get that in creating our own private institutions, our own programs, our own educational systems? And what does that look like from a private perspective? What does it look like from what's the other type of schools that receive funds that charter schools?
Montessori schools.
Yeah. You'd be amazed how many educators who work in the public education system have their children in private institutions. Mm-hmm. And that speaks volumes across the country that they see value in places other than their own employer.
Not over here, though. Just saying. Like, you good? Not over here.
Not over where?
Right.
Not over where?
In this area, where I'm at.
Where you reside, where you're living.
Yeah, not over here. Okay. A lot of them send their children to the public school system out here. Now, we're on that other side, y'all know what I'm talking about.
Yes.
A lot of them do that.
Yes,
and we know why they do that.
Yes,
you know
yes, they do. Yes, they do.
So that's why people live out here like they do, and they'll gladly pay that tax because they know the school system is top notch.
You also look at the district where you're saying more of the private schools. A lot of those private schools aren't for academics, right? A lot of them.
What do you mean?
Yeah, what are you referring to?
You already know what we're referring to. We already talked about this with the NCAA, right? So them schools is there, but it's for an opportunity to play a sport and get an opportunity to play at the collegiate level.
So should we celebrate them if they're taking resources away from public? Should we celebrate that that number 2 NFL draftee? Because
how them tickets coming by the way?
Should we celebrate him if the educational culture he comes from is maybe a detriment to the public culture where many of our kids are in.
Why can't we celebrate? He got his education. He got his education.
And we can celebrate him, but not this. We can celebrate him.
Him.
So what I'm saying, but he is an extension of that system, which says, I'm going to take your best and some of your brightest and pull them here and not give back any resources. You understand what I'm saying?
Okay.
He's an extension of that.
Mm-hmm.
But we immediately forget all that because of the relativity of his skin color, and he's an awesome athlete. Right? He gets that pass. So what we hope to happen is that he does like Kevin Durant does, and he gives back once he has become established in that professional system and creates multiple programs for that public entity and maybe also the private entity also.
Well, I know him.
I appreciate acknowledging that KD right there.
I know him personally, Spence. I know him personally, and I appreciate that. I know that brother personally. So, Spence, I'm hoping he does the same thing, like you said. You know, KD following in his footsteps. I'm pretty sure he will, though.
Since you know him personally, he is a reflection of you.
Oh,
and we will judge him.
I'm both kind of bright.
Hey, that's right. Hey, Spence, check this out. That's fine, just as long as you guys don't do well against my Giants. He can do well 14 of the 16 games.
Just to get not against
just those two. Right. Yes.
Everything I hear about the young man is great from people in the community, man.
Yeah, he's a great kid. Great kid.
You know, we gotta. I'm just making a point, man. You know, we celebrate all these young athletes, and we have to coach them that the community they come from still needs them even after they were able to leave. And so it's not a blame on any of them. It's just we have to hold them accountable and coach them and celebrate. Right. You know, we're gonna buy your tickets, we're gonna buy your jersey, but you know, we also want you to come by and talk to the little ones. You know, we also want you to make a donation to this family that lost all, you know, their house burnt down. And so that's what we're asking, because you can afford it. And your foundation will usually make a tax write-off anyhow. So, you know, that's a whole nother conversation.
Exactly.
Why we don't talk about economics enough here? We need to talk about money management.
You're right. I was about to ask you.
Hey, when we talk about Jordan donating money, y'all was like, wait, money ain't it? Come on.
Yeah, I want to talk about that because it has something to do with Jordan.
Y'all was like, I mean, he just donated money. That's it.
Hey, Spence, but I'm saying, hey, why buy the jersey?
Hold on, Spence, hold on. We ain't gonna buy. Spence, you just ain't gonna jump over that, bro. You just ain't gonna jump over that.
You say he did that?
I mean, he just donated money. What did he really do? We got to talk about economics over here. Money management.
Are you sure I said that?
That's his role, money management.
What did I say?
Economics. I mean, he just donated money. I mean, you know, you can just donate money to something. Yeah, that's all.
Y'all might have got.
Hey, we're not gonna talk about Jordan this episode at all. That's it.
We tried.
We can edit that out. We won't.
You brought it up still. You said you learned about the jersey.
No, I'm saying, what's the point of buying a jersey then? If what percentage of it goes to him?
Whose jersey? Who you talking about?
Oh, I don't know how that works.
Or anybody?
I don't. Anybody's. Yeah,
I mean, I know in the NBA they definitely get a good percentage off of jersey sales.
That's a good question. I don't know. Yeah,
NBA get a good percentage off jersey sales. That's why they track who's has the top selling jersey or not.
The NBA or the athlete?
The athlete. That's why Kobe changed his numbers.
No, but I'm saying,
really?
I don't.
Okay,
I was about to say, but what does good mean? Like what is that? Because I'm sure it's comparative to something, right? Is it comparing to MLB or NHL or NFL? Because if everybody else is getting 5% and then you getting 7%, I guess that's good.
But that's why you gotta go start your own damn league so you can get your own right percentages. Like at the end of the day, they play for the NBA, so you know what I mean. Like they gotta go by what that team and what that league sets for. So if they want all that, they gotta start their own league. And I felt like they should have done it. What was that, about 5-6 years ago, where
they had a
Ron and Katie and all them they
started talking about it.
And, like they had the power, like more than any athletes in the like from NFL, Major League Baseball, they could probably do it because they making crazy money. But all these dudes, especially NBA, they can get together and start a league up. You know what I mean? If they really wanted to.
So we're going back to the desegregation, right?
Ice Cube.
I mean,
Shout
we
out
had
Ice Cube.
right. And
I mean,
say,
Ice Cube, yeah,
big
shout out,
three.
yeah, shout out Ice Cube. I mean, Ice Cube, and people kind of laughed at him, but you look at it, they fill out a nice house out there, and it's a good product. You know what I mean? So I don't know how hard it's going to be hit by this virus. You know what I mean? That's the
canceled the league already.
They canceled it for the season.
Canceled. Wow.
Yeah, but how's that going to affect them for next year? Like, is that layoff this year going to be something that going to affect them?
I like the big three. I watched it.
Yeah, I like it. Like, something good to watch in the summer.
Very entertaining.
Right.
You know what I mean? It'd have been crazy if Kobe would have been up in there. You know what I mean? But
he wouldn't have did it. But he wouldn't have did it. But that would have been dope just to see him. Like, he probably did some commentary or something. But he wouldn't have been out there on the court.
All right, y'all, man. We're going to go ahead and wrap this up, man. It's good. Yeah. It's good seeing y'all brothers, man. It's good to see y'all healthy and well and everything, man. Want to shout out, still all the people out there protesting, man. Hope y'all remain safe. Still shout out all the first responders, man, the nurses, everybody that's going back to work. Be safe, man, because they open up a lot of stuff now, man. So a lot of people going back to work.
I got 2 shout outs, bro.
Yeah, go ahead. I know you, Duffy. Go ahead.
Hey, you like that? I know you do.
I know you got it. Because you
hey, shout out to Mental Phi Beta Sigma Fraternity Incorporated. Omicron Delta Sigma chapter. We've taken a chance to have conversation to look at mental therapy as we go through this time, and I'm really proud of that initiative. And we started talking about what we can do in the community. That's one thing we can do. Similar to this, we started a conversation about how are you feeling during this time, and we're also making preparation to do it to our young mentees also. So I just want to shout them brothers out, and the Sigma Beta Club, which is our young mentees. Also shout out to Star Wars star John Boyega. He's a brother, who's African in descent. He plays a leading role in the newest Star Wars films. And the reason why I'm shouting him out is because he's taking a very overt and intentional protest against police brutality and illegal policing to the extent where it may cost him some of his career and future ratings, and he understands that. So when we talk about sacrifice, shout out to John Boyega, man, for putting it on the line for community.
No doubt.
Yeah, I'm gonna shout out Colin Kaepernick. I know we talked about it, but I appreciate him making that decision 4 years ago, and at least creating this conversation prior to, which kind of giving people like something to connect it to on a consistent basis. And shout out to George Floyd's family, and let them know that I'm standing with them, and all the other families that were affected by this directly. Right, I feel like I am a part of them. So just want to make sure that they know that we're here supporting them, and just in this fight together. Even though we may be fighting differently, we're all in this fight together and just trying to, overcome these challenges, right? And, rewrite the narrative when they see us.
Yeah. Shout out to just all the protesters out there, man. Just hoping that, as you guys are out there, you're out there, knowing the reason why you're out there, and, first and foremost, let's be safe. Be safe while you're out there, protesting. Okay.
Yeah, like shout out to protesters and just be safe. Remember the calls. Remember the calls of why you're doing what you're doing, and continue to pray for the first responders. And as people are going back out into the workforce, just be mindful, just be safe, And rest in peace, and Nia Farmer, West Unsale.
Yes.
Nia Farmer, and just congratulations to all the 2020 high school graduates.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
You all are, made it through, even despite this time of this pandemic and all the other things that's going on. So big shout out to you, the graduates.
Yes, sir. Yeah, definitely, man. So, we're going to go ahead and wrap this up. Make sure, you go follow us on Instagram and Twitter at Brothers Podcast 1. Check out our YouTube page, the Brothers Podcast. Got Jay Flame down there. Go follow him on Instagram
Shout out to
at Jay Flame.
Shout out.
Check out his music on Apple Music as well. You know what I mean? I think it's on all streaming platforms.
Yeah, Silk Sheets and Leather Seats. That's out right now.
Yeah, it's real smooth. It's real smooth.
Kind of nice.
Yeah. So, everybody be safe, man. And, enjoy your nights. Enjoy your week. We'll be back on next week. This episode should be going up in a couple of days, and YouTube video will be up the day after, I want to say. So, yeah.
All right.
Shout out to the followers, man. The numbers going up, man, on social media.
Yeah. Let's try to pump them numbers up too, man.
Numbers are going up.
Good content over here. All right, fellas. Y'all be good, man.
Y'all be out. Be safe.
Peace. Definitely safe.
Peace.